How can you be more productive as a team? Hi there. I'm Arthur, also known as Agile Arthur. And if you're a little bit like me, then you're always looking for ways to improve your own and your team's productivity. And then you're in the right place, because in this video, you will learn how to get more done with less stress for your team with the help of Atomic Habits. And I've also created a Miro template that you can use to start building better habits with your team today. This is one of the many books that I've read about productivity and which principles I've used the last 10 years to help over 100 teams to improve their team productivity. Now, if you're not familiar with the book from James Clear, Atomic Habits are basically these small changes that you make in your life that have a huge compounding effect over time. This means you don't have to change everything at once, and you can start building slowly over time, just focusing on trying to get 1% better every day. But before we talk about how to apply the principles of Atomic Habits to your team, let's play a little game first to really grasp why it's worth investing in these small changes. Okay, so imagine you have two options, and the first one is this, 1 cent. But wait, it's not an ordinary cent, it's a magical one. The power of this cent is that it doubles in value every day for a month. In other words, when you wake up the next day, you miraculously have 2 cents. On day 3, you have 4 cents. On day 4, you have 8 cents. On day 5, well, you get the point by now, right? So how much do you think this magic cent is worth after 31 days, after a month? And that's important to think about, because option number 2, which you can choose, is a one-time payment of 1 million euros. So which one would you take? The magic cent or the 1 million euros? Let's look at how this works out after 31 days. After 5 days, the magic cent is only worth 16 cents. And after 10 days, it's worth 5 euros and 12 cents. So maybe you want to swap already? But it might seem like a good idea, because if we jump to day 20, the magic cent is worth just over 5,000 euros. And you might doubt your decision if you have chosen the magic cent. But then the real magic happens, because on day 28, on this day, your magic cent is already worth more than 1 million euros. And it still keeps doubling for 3 more days, which means that after 31 days, your magic cent is worth more than 10 million euros. And that's the magic of compounding. So how does this compounding effect apply to your team's productivity? I think it's safe to say that most of us want to be more productive. You want to get more done in less time so that you feel more ownership over how you spend your day. Oh yeah, by the way, wouldn't it be great if your teammates were more productive too? But the problem is our habits. And not all habits, of course, but the ones that get in the way of actually being productive, and those that put your focus on the wrong things. The habits that make you feel that you're too busy doing the thing right, that you don't take the time to reflect if you're actually doing the right thing, and maybe even how you can do them better and faster. You're too focused on the 1 million euros instead of the magic cent. And the answer lies in creating atomic habits with your team and to focus on small changes that will result in a huge compound effect over time. And the great thing about that is that study shows that team productivity increases by 42% when team members are developing their habits together. Now, before I show you how you can apply the principles of Atomic Habits to your own team, let's give a quick shout out to today's sponsor, which is us, Workshop Wednesday. Our new course, Run Retrospectives Like a Pro, will teach you everything you need to help your team be more productive with team meetings that help you become 1% better every day. It includes 8 videos that teach you all the concepts of a retrospective team meeting. And with the 8 Miro templates, you can run your first team meeting today and start your compound effect tomorrow. You can find a link to the course in the description down below, where you can also use the promo code RETRO20 to get early access to the course and also to get the course for only 20 euros. So how do you build these small habits with your team? In Atomic Habits, James Clear teaches us how to build better habits and how to break our bad ones so that we can be the best version of ourselves. Let's talk about 5 big lessons that you can take from the book and how to apply this with your team to start developing better habits together. You can also find these 5 lessons in this Miro board, which I will leave a link to in the description as well. In this Miro board, I've created a workshop where you can find the 5 lessons, and let's go through them one by one. The first lesson is small habits lead to big changes. And this is the compounding effect that we talked about earlier from the magic cent example. In the book, James Clear explains that if you focus on becoming 1% better every day, then at the end of the year, you have improved yourself 37 times. Now, if you want to do this with your team, you can make use of this Miro template to run a team meeting. Step 1 is to write down all the habits that you want to build and break. And step 2 is to group similar ideas. And then step 3 is to do a quick voting session and vote on the one habit that you want to work on together that week. The focus on that specific habit will allow you and your team to improve 1% every day during that week. So to give some examples, maybe habits that you want to build is to walk 10,000 steps per day, everyone in the team, or maybe share your knowledge more one-on-one, or work asynchronous first via a knowledge base. And maybe habits that you want to break are saying yes to every request, or have back-to-back meetings, coming in late and unprepared to meetings. These are just some examples, so allow your team to grab post-its and write the ideas that they have down for themselves. And after they have done that, they can make use of the dot votes to focus on the habits that you want to change in the next coming week. If I went too quick, then you can also see the steps over here. The instructions for every exercise is next to the exercise itself. And then the last step is to plan a weekly team meeting, which I will explain in a bit. But first, lesson 2. Lesson 2 is to focus on who you want to be and not the outcome. If you know who you want to be and what you and your team stand for, then the outcomes will follow. You can talk about it with your team by asking your team what are the core values, the most important principles that they want to share within the team. The whole team should agree on your values, so you do a voting session again, talk about the results, and make sure that everyone accepts the final set. And these are some examples of team values. So inclusivity, or maybe creativity, quality, trust. This could be the values that you as a team stand for. Then every week in the team meeting, give everyone on the team a chance to report how they're living to those values. Because lesson 3 is that you need to focus on the systems and not the goals. The system is how you do it. The goal is what outcome you hope it will give. An example of a system is how you want to improve productivity as a team. Having a dedicated moment to talk about how you work together as a team builds in accountability and an opportunity to focus on one small improvement every week. So by focusing on the system and how you can improve it, you will make it easier for yourself to stick to your new habits and benefit from it even years from now. And then it's time for lesson 4, because once you have decided on the habits and the system that you want to change that week, it's time to break down how you can actually build better habits. And that's where the 4 laws of behavior change come to help. It's a loop where you start by making your new habit really obvious. Second, then you try to make it attractive. The third step is to try to make it easy. And then the last step is to make it satisfying, to give a reward once you've done the new habit. And if you want to break a bad habit, you basically do the same, but then you inverse it. So make it invisible, make it unattractive, make it difficult, and make it unsatisfying. To break down a new habit and a system with your team, you first start with, of course, the habit that you chose it in the previous step. So copy paste it over here. And also do the same for the system that you want to focus on to support that habit. And then there are 4 questions which you can ask yourselves to break down these steps and to make it easier to get started with your new habit. The first question is about the cue. So how can we make it really obvious to see, hear, or maybe listen or think about the new habit when it's relevant? So in this case, if we want to focus on building a system to store our knowledge so that we can work asynchronous first, then maybe we should have the knowledge base as our starting page in the browser, or maybe create a keyboard shortcut so that we can easily access it. So this is the space where everyone in the team can brainstorm ideas on how to make it really obvious to start with a new habit. And once you've done that, you can do a voting session again and start with those that have the most votes in the next week. The second question is about how to make it attractive and something that you enjoy, so that you kind of get a craving to make use of that new habit and that new system. In this case, you could maybe have templates in your knowledge base which help you get a head start with a new task. Maybe you can use video and images to make it more attractive. You can improve the homepage of the knowledge base so that it becomes easier to navigate. You could share parts of your knowledge base with stakeholders, because that could save you time instead of sending emails every time. You want this space and the answer to this question for your team to brainstorm ideas how to make it super attractive to get started with your new habit and the system that supports it. And then the third question is about how to make the response or the reaction activity really easy to do. In the case of our knowledge base, we could maybe install Loom to record videos. Loom is an app that you can access by clicking in your taskbar and then simply pressing record. So that makes it really easy. Or you could maybe share the answers that you give to questions via the knowledge base link. And you can also make it really easy to search in your knowledge base, maybe with tags or another way, but a structure that makes it really easy to find what you need at the right moment. And question number 4 is about the reward. How can we make it really satisfying for ourselves? So in this case, maybe work an hour less each day because you save so much time with an async first approach. And also you get to be super flexible with your working hours. You don't have to design your life around your work, but the other way around, and be super flexible on when you want to work. And then the 5th lesson that you can take from the book is to have patience. For your habits to pay off, you need to be persistent long enough. Remember that the magic sand was only worth more than $1 million after day 28. So be consistent in your habits, and after a while, you will see major improvements. And a question that you can ask yourself and your team is, how will we help each other and hold each other accountable of keeping to our habits? So maybe accountability, you hold the team weekly meetings, or you track the habits in a Miro board, or you will post a screenshot of your progress in Slack. And ideas to help each other is maybe to pair up and share your screens when practicing your new habits, or maybe record short tutorials in the knowledge base, which explains on how you can actually apply the habits on a daily basis. And then it's also really important to remember that you should celebrate the individual and team wins along the way. Make these weekly team meetings also a time to recognize team member successes, and don't only talk about development opportunities for the coming week. Celebrating here and there will help team members to get into that habit of recognizing each other's success, and that will build trust and team strength over time. But most importantly, it will increase the happiness of the team. Team happiness is probably a lot of what team productivity is actually about. If your team isn't getting along that well, you can maybe deliver some results, but it's not going to feel like you're making much progress. And now that you know the basic principles of Atomic Habits and are getting started with improving your team's productivity, have a look at this video right here. This video will help you learn more about a team meeting approach called retrospective. This link right here will help you keep the habit building with your team fun, and it will create the much needed accountability to actually stick to your agreements.